press the bell icon on the YouTube app and never miss another update.
Hi students, good morning to all. In the previous videos, we have discussed on what vector mean. Minimum, to say a quantity as a vector, it should have magnitude and also the direction. If a quantity has the magnitude and direction, we say it is a vector. And also we come to know the representation of vector graphically, that with a line segment, directed line segment, if I notation as vector A, so arrow mark represents the direction of the magnitude quantity, and origin of the vector we call it as a tail, and the end point is called as a tip. This geometrical representation and notation as A we come to know, and again we want to know the translation of a vector. When you translate or slide or drag this on this plane of the board, in the same plane you can shift or slide this vector to any position, its vector nature does not change. That means either magnitude or direction is not changes, vector remains same. Or if you rotate the vector through an angle of 2 pi radian or 360 degree, vector won't change, or any integer multiple of this 2 pi n, where n refers to 1, 2, 3. The magnitude of the vector remain same and direction also remains same. Any fraction of that value if you turned, then vector magnitude may be same but direction changes. And also you come to know the measure of angle between the two vectors. I told you in measurement of angle, you have to join either tail to tail or tip to tip to measure the angle. The two angles appears, one is called interior angle and other is called exterior angle. The interior angle is taken as the angle between the two vectors. Smaller of the two is considered as the angle between the two vectors. Further, I will also come to know the types of vectors we started in the previous video. Parallel vectors, I am saying, rather than defining or definition of these, once we pronounce the word that has significant meaning which reflects the characteristic property of the vector. So when I say parallel vectors, we have discussed in the previous session, so that two vectors are said to be parallel if the directions are same, magnitude may be different. They are acting in the same direction with the different magnitudes. If the magnitudes become same, we defined these as equal vectors. Suppose if I take with this another vector, the meaning come to know it is called as a anti-parallel or unlike parallel vectors. But if the magnitude becomes same, then are called as the negative vector. Magnitude same, direction opposite, then it is negative of one with respect to the other. And also we defined collinear vectors. Negative vector, anti-parallel or unlike parallel vectors, parallel vectors, like vectors, collinear vectors, null vector. And also we taken the orthogonal vectors where they act perpendicular to each other. Co-initial vectors, passing through the common point, initial point is common, passing through the common point as concurrent vectors, concurrent coplanar vectors, non-coplanar vectors, and many vectors acting on a particle, then we defined as a resultant vector which replacing that all vectors, which can keep the system in equilibrium, a single vector which can keep the system under equilibrium under the action of different vectors. Then we call it as equilibrant vector. All such types of vectors we have taken in the last class. Still more vectors more importantly need for us. In today's discussion I go for those. Just I revised what vector mean and how the translation of vector possible and how we geometrically represent the vector and also notation concerned and angle between the vectors and types of vectors what we discussed. Briefly I told you at a glance. Now from this we enter today's class. We have to discuss about the some more types of vectors and actual entry into the vector algebra, where we have to see the addition, subtraction, multiplication of the vectors. Let us see that. So the one I can take today is the axial vectors. It is also called as a pseudo vector. Axial vector or a pseudo vector, which is not having any initial point or the end point, but only represents the direction. That we call it as a axial vector, which is acting along the axis. You can better understand with one example I take. Suppose you consider a particle describing a circle in a plane. Let this particle P is moving, describing the circle, and this is the axis of rotation of that. About the line it is rotating, axis of rotation. Now this line joining point describes some angle which we call it as a angular displacement. In certain time delta t it can move to point that. But this displacement is called as an angular displacement, which is a vector. The direction magnitude is here we measured, but the direction is perpendicular to the plane in which the particle is rotating or revolving. Or if you divide displacement by time, we got angular velocity term, angular velocity. And similarly, you can go angular velocity. Change in angular velocity by time is called as an angular acceleration. Angular acceleration and the force responsible creating all these is called as a torque, rotational force. All these are found in the line of axis. Along the axis, the direction is present and magnitude you are seeing the changes in the horizontal plane. So the vector which is acting along the axis of rotation easily can be defined as an axial vector which has no initial point, no final point. But line of action is axis of rotation about which body is rotating. I hope you are understood what axial vector mean. Similarly, coming to the next one is a polar vector. Polar vector has initial point. Suppose on a smooth plane, smooth surface, if I placed a block, if I applied a force, F has an initial point making some angle with respect to the horizontal. This is the initial point I say. From it is the initial point or the tail of that vector is fixed, origin is known. Then such type of vectors which is having initial point or point of application. This is called as a point of application. Then we call it as a polar vector. See the difference between the two. One is called axial vector and other is called as a polar vector. Before going to the unit vector, I am taking called as a modulus of a vector. Modulus vector or modulus of a vector. To understand this, suppose I consider a particle is moving along east direction. Suppose the displacement that takes place from reaching B from A is S, direction 5 meter along east. See, it has magnitude and also the direction. The displacement is this displacement 5 meter along east direction, that this direction is the east. This is a line segment, each may be of 1 centimeter. Appropriate scale I taken as a 1 meter displacement, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, together 5. What you are seeing is a vector. Now, if I remove this direction, if I remove the direction, if you remove the unit, even if I represent negative, if it is having a negative value, for example, S may be equal to minus 5 meter along west is an example. Even you remove this and remove this, what is remained is a positive number in the vector. This positive number is called as a modulus of a vector. Then it is represented as S. Notation of this is with a modulus, 2 vertical lines, or simply the letter S without the arrow mark. Either of the two is a notation, and that is equal to, I say, number 5. So number 5 is a positive number. You have to remove direction, unit, and even sign convention, positive or negative, remove that. Keep only the positive value. Positive number that represents magnitude of the vector, which is a pure number having the magnitude proper. That is called as a modulus of a vector I taken here. So when we see this modulus is 5, and you have taken the scale here. Suppose if I taken this vector and divide by the modulus, what we will get? See, S is a 5 meter along east, 5 meter along east divided by 5. What is remained is 1 meter along east. What this suggests? 1 meter along east, its magnitude become 1. Earlier magnitude was 5. I told it is a modulus of a vector. When I taken the vector and divided by the modulus, that gives you the quantity which we defined now as a new vector called as a unit vector. Coming to this as a unit vector, representing with cap or hat called as. It is called as a cap or a hat. Very significant one it is. In vector algebra, it refers the direction. It gives the direction to the vector clearly. Always its magnitude is 1. I can say here you are given the vector S, which is 5 meter along east. Now you think I can write it as a S cap, and this is S cap whose magnitude is this, and here another S cap. So if you look into this, you are understanding 5 times we have taken the unit vector where it become 5 meter along east. That means if I separate this and shown you, if I separate this one, this or this or this or this, anyone, one magnitude I have taken, which is with the direction, this become the unit vector. That means you come to know from this, vector S can be written as, S gives you the magnitude only, that is I can write 5. In the same example, S only gives 5. And S cap if I write, that become, either I can write it as S cap. I told you either way you can represent 5 meter along east. 5 meter along east, you come to know. That means now you have the magnitude, you have the direction. Preferably direction is given by this, magnitude is given by this, totally the vector is. One of the important thing we have to recall here, what is the role of unit vector is, it converts scalar into a vector. When you multiply scalar with this, it converts into a vector. What you did here? 5. Number 5 is a scalar. When we multiplied with the direction, unit vector, it is converted into a vector. 5 meter along east. So this significantly taken in our physics studies. We go back to the coordinate system. In the Cartesian coordinate system or rectangular components, I go to that one. Just I hope you are understood the two importantly. What is meant by the modulus of a vector? Modulus of vector is a pure positive number which represents the magnitude of the vector. I shown you, if you given something, remove the direction, remove the unit, remove any sign convention, and only the positive number gives you the magnitude of that vector. And also if a vector by magnitude you did, you get a unit magnitude, always its magnitude is 1. Magnitude is 1 and preferably gives you the direction. That we called it as a unit vector. Its important role is, it converts a scalar into a vector when you multiply this unit vector with the scalar. That I show you how in Cartesian coordinates we follow that. So this, you have studied about the Cartesian coordinate system. We have taken this as x-axis and y-axis and this as a z-axis. This usually we represent like this. This is x-axis, horizontal line, vertical line, middle finger represents, thumb represents the z-axis. These two are in one plane, xy is in the board plane, z is perpendicular to the board. So now here, this unit vector corresponding to x-axis with magnitude 1, we write it as a I. If with a scalar, if I return I cap, then that quantity become a vector in that direction. For example, if I say just the velocity of a particle is 8 meter per second, it's not enough. What it says speed, direction is not known. If along east, along x-axis, that if I write here 8I. Now it become a vector. This is vector V, velocity of the particle. If I write only 8 meter per second, it is a scalar which we defined it as a speed. But when I substitute I, it become 8I along the positive x-axis. Similarly, the particle may move in this direction where velocity can be written as minus 8I meter per second. Here minus I represents along the negative x-axis, minus x. Opposite to the positive x-axis particle is moving, then it is minus 8I. Minus I is negative axis, plus I positive x-axis, magnitude is 1, magnitude is 1. And similarly, if you go in the direction y, Magnitude 1, we say it is a j. Instead of this, I write like here, the same velocity vector, 8 meter per second. When I say it is just a speed, suppose it is moving along the y direction, I have to write it as a j, vector j. If take minus j, come downward. Similarly, z-axis, magnitude is 1 from origin. So this is representing with small letter k. So 3 directions, the unit vectors we have taken. Unit vector, if I is along with some quantity, physical quantity written, it is a vector having direction along x-axis. Plus I positive x-axis, minus I negative x-axis. If it has j like that, it is positive y-axis, minus j negative y-axis. Similarly, if you take z-axis, k, positive k, it is away from the board, negative k into the board, minus z. So thus I hope your ijk vectors are the unit vectors. I preferably along x, j preferably along y, and k preferably along z. You have to remember. So this is the vector I, j and k. I hope you are followed how this unit vector is used, and as you enter into the vector problems you will understand. But remember, I, j, k are not letters with the cap when we say it is a unit vector of magnitude 1 along I, x, along j, y, along k. So along z, k, along y, j. So from this knowledge I am coming to the another vector called as a position vector. So the position vector, I take 2-dimensional for at initial stage to make easy to understand x and y. Let us think the particle point may be a point A from the origin of the coordinate system. Let this may be at some distance. Let us take z also, no problem. Such origin is 0, 0, 0. Now this vector, which is representing the position of A in the Cartesian coordinate, from where? From the origin. From origin of the coordinate system, from the originate of coordinate system to the point distance, we call it as a position vector, which represents the position of the particle with respect to the origin. And it is written as R1 equal to xi plus yj plus zk, maybe x1, y1, z1. So these are the representation of this vector. All have coordinates here. This may have x1, y1 and z1 are the coordinates of the point A. What is its magnitude? If we want a magnitude of this, can be taken as root of x1 square plus y1 square plus z1 square is a magnitude. Suppose if we want a unit vector of that, take the vector r1 by r1. That means x1i plus y1j plus z1k divided by root of x1 square plus y1 square plus z1 square. If you did, you will get some vector which is nothing but the unit vector. When a vector divided by magnitude become a unit vector. Coming to the another point, similarly can take here point B whose coordinates are x2, y2 and z2. Correspondingly, I can write the vector as x2i plus y2j plus z2k. Now it is a position vector r2. r1 and r2 are the position vector. After some time, let us think the particle was here, it is displaced to this point. This is displaced to that point during that time. So this is a displacement took place. R1 is a position vector. R2 is a position vector. This is also position vector. That means their position is observed with respect to the origin of that coordinate system. Now it is displaced from A to B, where I can write this displaced from A to B as a displacement vector. This can be called as another vector called displacement vector. That we take here as 19th one, displacement vector. How to get this displacement vector? If you know the coordinates of this. From the vector algebra, let us you think that you are started from O, reach A and reach to B. Vectorially, I can say it is R1 plus S is equal to what it should be, OB, R2. I think you are understanding this easily. It is moved from O to A to B. Now where it is at B. From O, how much distance? This sum is equal to this vectorially. Suppose if we want a displacement vector, it become R2 minus R1. R2 minus R1. What is R2 is x2i plus y2j plus z2k minus x1i plus y1j plus z1k. So you can corresponding I to I, z to j, because the axis same. You can find the coordinates values difference, x2 minus x1, y2 minus y1, z2 minus z1 can be done. If I write that x2 minus x1i plus y2 minus y1j plus z2 minus z1k. So you got this as a displacement vector of this. If we want magnitude of it, magnitude of that is nothing but square root of x2 minus x1 whole square, y2 minus y1 whole square, z2 minus z1 whole square. So this gives you the magnitude. Vector by this gives you unit vector of that. That means S cap, if you want, vector S by S magnitude gives you that. You have the S magnitude here. S magnitude x2 minus x1 whole square, y2 minus y1 whole square, z2 minus z1 whole square. It is a displacement vector when you are given the coordinates. So these two are most important in our physics to deal with. Just we given a long way come across with many vectors we named, and therefore I told you, rather than definition, when we pronounce the word, what exactly it means, what type of vector is its characteristic must be understood. Axial vector means a vector, it is a pseudo vector which acts along the axis. In rotational motion we majorly see only represents the direction of that vector. And coming to polar vector, I told you it has initial point and end point. Point of application is more clear, magnitude is clear. In that case, we are calling them as a polar vectors. With one example I showed you. And coming to modulus of a vector, purely a number, positive number, when you divide the vector, so you will get deleting the direction, deleting the unit, deleting the sign, minus, only positive number. It's a purely a magnitude of the vector, an appropriate scale available, that is called as a modulus of vector, and representing like S with modulus or simply S. And we come to unit vector. It is always have magnitude 1 and represents the direction. I told you, in case of Cartesian coordinate system, we have taken it as x-axis I, y-axis j, and z-axis k. Opposite mode, minus I, minus j, minus k also. So coming to the position vector, with respect to a selected origin, position of the particle, to understand we have a vector means which represents the position of the vector with the origin, we call it as a position vector. Displacement vector, the point displaced in the plane from one point to another point, the particle, how much it is displaced can be represented with reference of the, without reference of the origin. Then we call it as a displacement vector, which is represented as here R2 minus R1. I hope we are written here R1, R2. During journey, total journey is this much, but with respect to origin, it is R2. Therefore, R1 plus S is R2 or S is equal to R2 minus R1. It is a vector, it is a modulus. Vector by modulus gives you the unit vector of the displacement. These are the different types of vector we considered. That is the base to understand the vector algebra. If you having the different, knowing clearly what are the different types of vectors, and now how to represent the vector, what vector is, coming to vector algebra. I hope you are understood. From this I enter to the vector algebra part. So the second entry we do vector algebra. What exactly it contains? So in this unit, we first have to study about composition of vectors. Composition of vectors, meaning addition of two or more vectors, or also can be called as addition of vectors. Here the two important terms you have to remember. We can add only the vectors of same kind, principle of homogeneity, vectors of same kind. Very important term I am saying here. Same kind means force to force can add. I can add force F1 plus F2, or I can add velocity to velocity. But I cannot add F1 plus V1, cannot be true. That means same kind, force to force, velocity to velocity, or acceleration to acceleration, displacement to displacement. You cannot add force to velocity or force to displacement like that. That is what the meaning of vectors of same kind. And second important term, remember here for addition or subtraction concerned, that scalar plus vector is not admitted. It is not possible. You cannot add a scalar with a vector or vector with a scalar. 5 kilometer per second speed. I traveled 5 meter. Add 5 kilometer per second plus 5 meter means no. Scalar and vector addition. Scalar plus vector or vector plus scalar is not allowed. Vector to vector is allowed, and that vectors must be of same kind, principle of homogeneity. Coming to the second is a subtraction of vector. Subtraction of vectors. Subtraction of vectors, nothing but addition of a negative of the vector to be subtracted. That we go detail later. For example, if the two particles are moving in the same direction, they are covering different distances, S1 and S2, there is a relative displacement which we call delta S as S1 minus S2 is called as a relative displacement. Relative displacement. So here we are subtracting one vector from the another. Or there may be measuring velocities. Change in velocity, that is V1 minus V2, is a relative velocity. Change in velocity or a relative velocity between the two bodies, or when a force is applied, there may be changes in the velocity of a body from initial to final position after certain time. If you divide this by time for a single particle in a time interval, it could happen, then what happens is you are getting the known term as acceleration. Also, change in momentum possible if you multiplied with V1 minus V2 as a change in momentum. You learnt about in 9th or 10th standard in high school, change in momentum. You have learnt. So, where we connect with change in velocity multiplied by the mass. Or if you divide this by time, you defined it as a force, Newton's laws of motion. You have learnt in high school. So, it comes to force. I told you, I shown you here many cases where you come to know that importance of subtraction of vectors. So, displacement relative velocity by time, or relative velocity into mass as a change in momentum by time as a force, all are vectors. So, the important role in physics, the subtraction has equally to addition. But we have to learn correctly the vector algebra. It is not so simple as you studied this addition and subtraction on elementary algebra. But here we have to follow the rules. That rules and laws, what they are, we have to go to see. That is about the composition of vectors and subtraction of vectors. Third, come to resolution of vectors. Resolution of vector meaning is here. Suppose if we have a vector, let it be A, having some magnitude. If I want to get its value in a direction x, for example, I want its value, I want its magnitude, what is its effect? What is its effect in the direction of x? So what we do if it is having angle, we are finding its component along this direction. That process is called resolution of a vector, resolving the vector, finding the effect of the vector in a given direction is named as a resolution of vector, which is also having important role. We have to go in details afterwards. And coming to the fourth one is vector multiplying with a scalar. Vector multiplication of a scalar we have to see. That is, addition of a scalar with vector is not possible. But again I am saying the resolution of vector is only in vectors. You cannot see in scalars. Scalars cannot resolve, but vectors can be resolved in any direction required. Similarly, vector into scalar gives you the vector, how this and how the magnitude and directions are changing. We have to see detail later coming to in this part of vector algebra. Coming to the fifth one is vector multiplying a vector. This is another unit we are going to see here. One is called as a dot product or scalar product. Dot product or scalar product. So it is representing, for example, vector A dot B, representing like this. It is not a dot, actually reading like that. It is a product multiplying vector A with B, where it is converting into a scalar. There is a example I can show here as work done can be written as a force into displacement. It is not just a force into displacement. It is a product of dot product of two vectors. F is a vector, S is a vector, force is a vector, displacement is a vector. When we take on the dot product, work done become a scalar. Similarly, you have studied in work power energy power. Power of a body can be measured with dot product of force and velocity. Force is a vector, velocity is a vector. F dot V, when you do, it become a scalar as a power. It is the power of a body. It is a work done. So is an example for dot product or scalar product. We go details afterwards. What are we are going to learn in vector algebra we are studying here. Let us take the another is called as a cross product. Or called as a vector product. What you are seeing here is A cross B. It is not A into B, reading as A cross B. It is a vector. After getting the product, when I multiplied vector A with B, we are getting another vector. We are getting another vector which also has magnitude and direction both. Therefore, it is called as vector product. And notation we are using here cross, therefore it is called as cross product. Here notation we are using dot, therefore it is called as a dot product. Otherwise, a vector into vector can become a scalar called scalar product. Vector into vector become a vector, it is called as a vector product. For this example, I told you the torque, rotational force, that can be written as R cross F. R cross F is a vector. Or angular momentum can be written as R cross P, where R is a position vector and P is a momentum, linear momentum. Angular momentum is radius vector. It is usually called as radius vector into linear momentum. Or you can write linear velocity is equal to omega cross R, where R is a radius vector, omega is angular velocity. Angular velocity and R gives you the linear velocity. Such quantities we study details in rotational motion. But for your glance, where we see is, I took the example for scalar product. Work is a scalar, power is a scalar, whereas a torque, angular momentum, linear velocity are the vectors. When you multiply radius vector with force become torque, linear momentum become angular momentum, angular velocity multiply that gives you the linear velocity. With some examples and exercises, we have to understand exactly what vector algebra is to be. Please remember, in vectors, composition of vectors or addition of vectors and subtraction of vectors, The rule you have to remember two conditions. You can add or subtract vector with a vector. Vector with a scalar cannot do. And further, when you are adding or subtracting of same kind of vectors, dissimilar kind of vectors cannot be added, cannot be subtracted. With this basic idea, let's come to the concept of composition of vectors. I briefly told you what we are going to: addition of vectors, subtraction of vectors, resolution of vectors, and vector product, vector into a scalar, multiplying vector with a scalar or vector with a vector. What happens in all these we have to go to see in details in the future videos. Let us start with composition of vectors, how that goes to. And before going to the addition of vectors, one thing you may be thinking that we studied the operators addition, subtraction, multiplication we have taken here. Why not, sir, taken the division? There is no division of vectors. For example, you can multiply a scalar with a vector. For example, 5 into velocity. Possible 5v can be written, or you can have the vector v1 like this. Vector v by 5 can be possible, 1 by 5 into vector v, right? It is a number. I multiplied the vector with a number, admitted. It may be a number with a vector, but vector v1 by v2, not. Dividing one by the other. Or number, for example 5 divided by a vector, not admitted. Vector by a vector, number by a vector is not allowed. Vector by a division by a number is allowed because it can be shown as a multiplication. In vector algebra, we never talk about the divisions of vectors. We cannot divide one vector by one vector. We cannot divide a number with respect to a vector. So always vector product exists. Scalar into a vector or vector into a vector can be done. But vector division by vector or number by a vector cannot be possible. We cannot consider at all. That is not an, in vector algebra, it is not a mathematical simplification. With clearing this, now I am coming to the concept of vector addition. Addition of two or more vectors. There are many laws. For reference, I take here the first one is called as a tip-tail method. Geometrical method. Second called triangle of vector addition. Third is parallelogram law of vector addition. Fourth is polygon law of vector addition. Fifth is resolution of vectors, in which components can be added, resolution of vectors, where we use this resolution, resolved component can be added with vector algebra. We see details there. Lastly, to connect with this about Lami's theorem. These are the different rules or the laws used to find the vector algebra, vector addition, composition of vectors. Let us take the first one as addition of two vectors. addition of two vectors. That is the first I consider as a tip-tail method. It is geometrical method, geometrical construction, how it gives you the resultant. So let us, if you want to add the vector A with the vector B, our aim is to get vector A plus vector B, two vectors, so that R is the sum of the two vectors, which I am calling it as a resultant vector. It should have both one magnitude and other direction. I have to get the both from geometrical construction. Tip-tail method. You know what is the tip and tail of the two vectors shown here? Tail is this, both tail, and these are the tip. What the tip-tail method rule says is, I told you that is why translation method, not necessarily here I can do this, but I can shift this to the position here. We can slide this vector to this position A, vector A. This is the tail of vector A. Now, tip is this. Tip of the vector A, according to the vector algebra tip tail method, tail of this second vector to be joined. Tail of this, so I slide here and shift to this point without changing. I can shift this vector downward and slide here to this, so that this is the vector B. Now it is the tail of B, but tip of this. Now B vector tip is here. What we done? Tip of the first vector to be joined with tail of the second vector. This is the tail of the second vector. Now what the tip-tail method says is, tail of the first vector to be joined with the tip of the second vector. This is the resultant. Exactly gives you. Tail of the first vector to be joined with the tip in that direction. Tail to tip have to move. Now you got the triangle. Let it be 1, I showed you. So now R, what is the magnitude? This is the magnitude. If I write on here somewhere, like here, that this is the magnitude you got. This is the vector R. If I labeled as A, B and C, AC is the vector R, which is equal to A plus B. We got it. Need not necessarily take the first one as A. You can take the second one also. Let us start with B, tail of this and tip. You can write here like this. This is the vector B, whose tail is here, and this is the tip of this vector. Now if I want to join A, tip of the B should be joined with the tail of A. That this is the vector A, whose tail is here, but tip is at this point. Now again join these two, tail to tip. Always you have to move from tail of the first vector. Please listen, tail of the first vector to the tip of the second, and we got R. I can write this as B plus A. But if you see, the both are same and this is same again. So if I represent as A, B, C, AC is the magnitude I got same. Therefore, one of the law we proved here. Suppose when you see A plus B, now I can say this is true, B plus A, what we did here. A plus B is also equal to B plus A, got the same magnitude. That means vector addition obeys the commutative law. A plus B equal to B plus A, whichever may be the taken first and the later the second. I hope you are followed. tip of the first one to be joined with the tail of the second vector, and then to conclude, tail of the first should be joined to the tip of the second. Whichever you taken first, that also represents the direction and also the magnitude. This line segment magnitude gives you the resultant and direction of this. This is what called as the tip-tail method. Tip-tail method used to find the direct magnitude on geometrical construction. It is called geometrical method. But you have got the triangles in both cases, whether you taken A first and B later or B first and A later. In both cases you are seeing one interesting point is both you got the triangle. But you see carefully the three sides of the triangle. That observation itself clearly what the triangle law gives you. Suppose you started from A, reached B and reached C. Now in a circle, so reaching from A, B, C, how you gone is anti-clockwise. A to C. A to C you moved anti-clockwise. But closing side, this is called as a closing side. Closing side of the triangle, how we have taken there, you see that? Clockwise direction. It is anti-clockwise, but this is clockwise. That means what direction you taken the addition, the closing side must be taken in the opposite direction. Two things in this geometrical construction you have to remember. Law of triangle. Closing side must be in the opposite direction. One side has to get the closed structure, and opposite side direction of the vectors you have taken in one order. Then it becomes the law of triangle of addition, triangle of vector addition. So you have see either B, you see in this case A to B, B to C, we moved in the clockwise direction. But you see the resultant moved in the anti-clockwise direction. So if you understood this, a triangle has three shades. We are given the two vectors, we are adding the two vectors. With respect to magnitude and direction, we are arranged them in one order, and each side of the triangle what we have taken represent magnitude and direction of the vectors which are adding. The closing side or the third side of the triangle taken in the opposite order represent the vector sum of these two vectors. Suppose if you fine tune this with a better language, it is named as a law. Triangle of vector addition. I hope you are understood both. I hope you are understood this and this also both. That means in addition of two vectors, law of triangle says that we have to represent the two sides of the triangle both in magnitude and direction in one order. The closing side or the third side of the triangle taken in the opposite order gives you the vector sum of the two vectors both in magnitude and direction. This third side gives you both magnitude and direction of vector sum of the two vectors A plus B. So here it is clockwise, resultant appears to be anti-clockwise, or here it is clockwise, it is anti-clockwise, but geometrically both are same. The direction is not affected, both are in the same direction, magnitude also same, and this gives you the resultant A plus B or B plus A. Also I showed here that vector addition obeys the commutative law. A plus B may be equal to B plus A. So I hope you are understood the first two methods of finding the vector addition under geometrical construction, tail to tip method or tip tail method and triangle of vector addition. We can go to the parallelogram law and polygon law to the next. Let us one simple example I conclude here. So because if the vectors are of this form, they arranged of this form, So let it be vector B, and this is vector A, and this is vector C. You are allowed to displace them. So I displace this vector to this position. So likely slowly here that this is the vector A, and now this vector is C. We can take this displacement to this position as C. And this is the position B. A, B, C. Now what we see is all the vectors are in one order appears to be. They are all appearing in one order. So now I say, because where we started from the point A, we reach the point B, come back to C and reach A. That means it become a null vector. Vector A plus B plus C become 0 vector when it is in this order. Suppose if I write on A plus B is equal to minus C if I take other side. What is minus C here? It is in one order, this order. If I taken this minus C, then it is in the opposite order, become equal to the resultant of A plus B. If it is resultant, now we are calling this as equilibrant. I told in the previous sections of vector types explanation, resultant is always equal and opposite to the equilibrant. If body come to equilibrium, it is called resultant. All the three vectors in the triangle are in one order in the loop form, then we call it as a equilibrant, third side. If it is in the upward disorder, it gives the resultant. As shown here, C, it is equilibrant. Opposite to C, because these two are in the anti-clockwise order, you take it in the anti-clockwise order, minus C gives you the resultant of A plus B. Fine, I hope you are followed. We started with the pending axial vectors and polar vectors, position and displacement vector, modulus of vector and unit vectors. Unit vector has an important role which converts a scalar into a vector when you multiply it with a scalar and preferably gives the direction. And what we are going to learn in vector algebra, we have started. Now I have taken composition of vectors. There are different laws we have to learn. In that we have today discussed about the two tip-tail method and triangle law of vector addition. With this knowledge, in the next video, we go to the parallelogram and also the polygon law of vector addition. This what I shown is nothing but a Lamis theorem. When we discuss about equilibrium, I come details. Now I hope you are followed tip-tail method and triangle law of vector addition. Thank you. Let us see tomorrow.